What up, Misfits? Welcome back to the Urban Misfit podcast. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for tuning in. If you have a sec, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell. Stay tuned to the next ones that are coming up. This week, though, what we have for you is when you go to a bike shop and you're looking around and you're like, damn, look at that 29-inch. Damn, look at that 27.5. How do you know what to choose? Well, I'm going to break it down for my opinion on those bikes that I've owned anyways and those wheel sizes and let you know like my thoughts on it to maybe help you make the decision. So, me personally, I've owned two of the big BMX 27.5s. I had a Maniac Flyer from SE Bikes and I had a RL 275 from Redline. They're both good bikes. They ride, they wheelie, the geometry and stuff is very similar, so virtually it was the same. It didn't feel very different jumping between the two bikes. Obviously, I have 29s. I've been riding 29s, so you guys know that. The difference that I would have to say is majorly like in the, well, I guess there's two, Swerve department and doing combos. Like, there's major benefits for either side, basically. The 29-inch BMX bikes, they're classified as BMX cruisers for a reason, because that's how they ride. Even on two wheels, they ride like a cruiser. On one wheel, they still ride like a cruiser. And what I mean by that is like doing swerves on a 29, you're going to get that longer, smooth swerve action coming through with that swag, bruh, from a 29, just because the geometry and of the frame and how big the wheel size is and the fact that, you know, the distance you are off the ground and everything, it just, the physics of it all make it ride like that. So on the 29s, the balance point when you're doing a wheelie, you're more or less feel like you're hovering on top of the balance point when you're on your seat. Now, the 27.5s are quite a bit different. As far as the balance point goes, you really feel like you're wheeling from inside of the wheel, like inside of the back wheel. It feels so low, and like just where your motion is on the balance point, it feels like you're in it, like inside the balance point, which is hard to explain. Okay, so I'm going to try and elaborate on this a little bit better. So you know like the rubber balls that you see people do like the aerobics on? So picture that ball. Now imagine you're sitting on top of that ball while riding. Like that's what it feels like riding the 29s. Now picture holding that ball in your lap like this while riding, like, and trying to keep the ball balanced. Like that is kind of in my head how it works on like the difference of balance points from 29 to 27.5, if that makes any sense. It's just a height difference of balance point, which I know it's hard to compute that if you don't really know. But basically, the best way to explain is like the smooth, drawn out swerve motions of the 29 are like pretty opposite on the 27.5. As far as those swerves go, you're going to have like a much more aggressive, agile, nimble cutting motion of a swerve. I mean, you can draw them out and swerve long on those bikes, but it's really more of a coast. Like when you're swerving super hard on the 29s, it's like you're pedaling into it and stuff. And when you do that on the 27.5s, it really just makes you wah, which I'm sure you've seen the videos where the kids, and they skirt their tires sideways from swerving so hard on the fat tire bikes and stuff. I looked for a video, couldn't find one. That's the main difference as far as balance points and the swerves go, in my opinion anyways. And I really find like it, so the kids that do the combos, they tend to like the 27.5s and the 26s, like fat tire bikes basically. And they like them, I'm sure, because it has a fatter tire, so you got a bigger footprint on the ground, which gives you a easier balance point to like stay at balance point, especially when they're like tap dancing on the seat and like jumping all over the bike and stuff and doing all that crazy stuff. Whereas the 29s, obviously you see kids and guys doing the combos on those bikes too, but it's a lot bigger bike to jump around. Their balance point's different, like I said. So if you're into like the cruising type of wheelies, if you're not really into the combos and stuff, obviously the 29's probably going to be the route to go for you. The 27.5s, if you like the combos and stuff, that's typically the route most people go. However, I will say a lot of the 27.5s, at least being my height, being 6'1", you get more of like a BMX bike feel out of it because it's a little bit smaller. It's still like got that aggressive feel to it, which they're really fun to ride. Don't get me wrong. I loved my 27.5s that I had. But to be like a daily for me, it's really hard because of my height. So as far as like the 29s, that's really where I'm biased towards just because I'm 6'1", and those bikes are a lot bigger, so they just fit me better. I love them both, and I'll probably soon have another 27.5 laying around just to mess around on here and there and stuff. But if you're not into the wheelies and you're just looking for another bike, The 27.5 or any of the fat tires, really, they're really fun to cruise and ride. You just got to get your gear ratio down if you're just cruising on a 27.5 because they typically run out of speed faster. So you're pedaling more on those. But if you change the gearing on it, you got a smooth roller that's got way more cushion because the tires are fatter, you know what I mean? So it's kind of a more comfortable ride, to be honest with you. Because even if you try and do that on the 29s, like, it's just not quite as comfortable. Even if you get your gearing right to where you're cruising and stuff, like the fat tires are just a big difference. So another thing is the fat tire bikes, like the 27.5s, their tires are typically heavier because there's a lot more rubber, and especially when you're upgrading, if you upgrade to like Schwalbe Supermoto X tires, those things are heavy. You gotta kind of get used to it. Okay, after some quick research, come to find out, the heaviest 27.5 tires that I found that like anybody in the bike life world runs is actually the V Tire Co. Beast Mode tires. They're coming in at 2.67 pounds for those tires versus the heaviest 29-inch tire I could find, which was a Hookworm, which comes in at 2.5 exactly. So, kind of interesting. The Schwalbes are coming in at 2.03 pounds. I don't even know how that's possible. For being a smaller bike, they weigh pretty much the same as a 29. Some of them weigh a lot more, actually, because they're chromoly. Some of the GTs. Some of the 29-inch bikes are chromoly as well, so, and obviously those are going to weigh more because it's a lot heavier than aluminum. Just to give you a frame of reference, the new SE Big Flyer is coming in at 32 pounds, and the new SE Maniac Flyer, which is a 27.5, is coming in at 33.8 pounds. So I almost forgot. The other benefit, well, I guess they're starting to pop up on both sides. A lot of the 27.5 BMX bikes have disc brakes on them. Like, a decent amount of them have them, if not all of them. I think. I don't know. I can't think of one that has V-brakes right now, but I'm sure somebody can comment below and tell me. Nope. Disc brakes, it's a plus if you like disc brakes, I guess. But they are technically an upgrade from a V-brake is a disc. Like, the disc brake is like the highest caliber of brake. You know what I mean? There's tons of different options. But as far as it's looked at, disc brakes in general are typically more expensive, especially when you go the hydraulic route. So, not that you can't go hydraulic on a V-brake with, a 29-inch, but you're kind of stuck with like Maguras, and that's about it. And those things are hella heavy. So if you're not worried about weight, and you really, really want stopping power, so much so that could like taco your rim if you squeeze it too hard, you could get Maguras and put them on your 29. But there's also some bikes there's a way to convert them to disc. So like I said, those are kind of pros and cons on both sides. So it just depends. If you like disc brakes, then you're probably going to lean more towards the 27.5 because there's more options of those bikes with disc brakes versus the options you have with the 29s in disc brakes. So, however, there's new bikes coming out all the time, and you just never know. Might be a new 29 that's coming out with a disc brake. I know I've had my eye on those GTs because they've been pumping out new bikes, bro, and lots of them have been popping up with discs. So I kind of want to get back to that. It's a little scary because disc brakes can leave you stranded, especially if you run hydraulics. But yeah, so the brakes. Typically, you're going to find disc brakes on 27.5 BMX bikes, but I don't want to say all, but I feel like it's all of them, but I could be wrong. So 27.5, 29, you make the choice. Now, the price, I guess, is something to go over, which the price ranges vary. The 27.5s typically end up running more, I feel like, because I'm pretty sure they all have disc brakes. So with disc brakes, that's a much higher manufacturing cost, so therefore the retail price is typically more expensive than the 29s. Okay, once again, some reference. So the new SE Big Flyer is coming in at $599.99, so $600, and the new SE Maniac Flyer is coming in at $769.99. Now, these are both like the base model of their big BMX series, like the 27.5 and the 29, because they have the Big Ripper and like the Beast Mode, so those are like the upper end bikes. Their price difference is going to be the same, they're just going to be more expensive, basically. If you're just trying to get in the game, like, it's probably going to be easier to get a 29 for cheaper. Actually, I take that back. Unless you're in Vegas, because LV Dyno just DM'd me a picture of an RL275 out there for sale for $500. So I'm sure by the time people see this, it'll be gone. But if not, hit them up. Other than that, typically right now, a 29 is probably going to be cheaper to get, just because they're cheaper out of the store. So there's those factors. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking for a new bike and you've been on a 29, obviously there's benefits. And if you already own a 29, just go buy a 27.5. Just go get one. See for yourself. Like I said, they both have like their benefits in either department. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. And it obviously boils down to like your personal preference. If you were curious about like the wheelie difference and why people ride these versus these, those are kind of my opinions on that and my personal, experience around those. Either way, I highly suggest you guys buying a bike regardless. 29, 27.5, 26, 24. Just get on a bike, come ride with us. Yep, that's it. So hopefully this helps some people out, maybe make that decision on, which way to go on a 29 or a 27.5, whatever bike they're trying to get right now. Yeah, hope it helped. Till next week, go ride your bikes. Stay tuned.